What's going on, guys? My name is Rising, and the patch notes for Season 9 of Call of Duty Mobile is already here, which contains quite a lot of interesting buffs to various weapons and other things. So today we'll be diving deep into those balancing details and discussing whether the changes were satisfactory or not. As you may know, I won't be providing builds for any of the guns mentioned here, as the update did not drop yet and it requires time for playtesting to arrive at a staple class setup. But as soon as the season drops, I will be doing gun guides for every single one of them, where I'll provide the recommended class setups for each of them. So without further ado, let's jump onto the patch notes of Season 9, 2025. Starting with the assault rifle category, we've got changes for almost a half a dozen of them. And let us kick things off with the LK24, which got an increase to its aim down sight time by right about 7%, which is now at 260 milliseconds. The only drawback of the LK24 was its overall mobility, unlike the KN44, where you can stack range without losing too much on mobility. With this buff, the LK can be used a little aggressively, although it doesn't change its mobility values at all. This buff is not so significant, but is nice to have nevertheless. Up next, we have the M16's Wildfire attachment, which turns it from a 3-round burst into a fully automatic weapon. The hit flinch penalty is reduced from 15% to 5%, which is nice. Additionally, it is supposed to reduce its overall recoil. Since we do not have any info on its magnitude as of now, we have to wait for the update to drop to see the modified recoil pattern. The Wildfire perk gives the M16 one of the best range profiles in the entire game, but its use is limited by its harsh recoil pattern. So with the recoil buff, we may see players using the gun quite more often. Next up, we have the HVK-30's large caliber ammo, which is literally on steroids. It now improves its upper arms multipliers from 1.2 times to 1.4 times, making it a lot more consistent to achieve a 3-shot kill in the maximum damage range, also making it consistent at landing 4-shot kills at longer ranges. The HVK was already a top-tier weapon, with the only drawback being its low magazine capacity. This buff will make its effectiveness even better, and we might see it come back to regular matches, especially in Search and Destroy. Up next, we have the EM2, whose lower arm multiplier got improved from 1 to 1.1 times. The base EM2 has bad body part damage multipliers, so it is recommended to use the Task Force barrel, which already gives a 1.1 times multiplier to the lower arms. So with this buff, it will have a 1.2 times multiplier to the lower arms, which may improve its consistency at mid to longer ranges. Overall, the EM2 is an upper tier weapon, and this buff is quite welcoming. Coming up next, we have the Swordfish, which got an interesting buff to its halberd magazine. Now it improves your rate of fire between bursts by 6 milliseconds. This means now your 4-shot time to kill will be 162 milliseconds, while your 5-shot time to kill will be 216 milliseconds, both of which are very competitive. The only limitation is that you have to land all the shots in your burst, otherwise your time to kill will rise up drastically. Since majority of the player base do not tend towards burst-firing weapons, I don't think this buff will have too much impact on the weapon. The Swordfish thus remains as a high-risk, high-reward sort of weapon. Next up, we have the Krig 6, which got a buff to its Task Force barrel, which now improves your upper torso and upper arm multipliers. This has no effect in your first and second ranges, but can reduce your shots to kill in the third damage range. But since it harms your recoil, I do not recommend using the Task Force barrel and go for the Cavalry barrel instead, which has the same improvement to your damage range, and since the base Krig already has a great bullet velocity, it does not need any more improvements to it. Overall, this buff was kind of useless, and it'd be better to see an improvement to its recoil instead. And for the last weapon from this category, we have the Grau 556, which got an additional bullet spread buff to the Archangel barrel. This buff is quite huge because the Grau did not have too many BSA improving attachments, and with this buff, it will no longer face that problem. The Grau is one of my personal favorite assault rifles, and I'm quite excited on this one. And with that, we're done with the assault rifle category. Coming to the submachine guns, first up we have the Razorback, which got a slight range buff to its rapid fire attachment, with the initial damage range improved to 7.2 meters and the second damage range to 14.4 meters. This is a welcoming change, however it does not address its main downsides, being a lower than average time to kill and lack of attachments that improve mobility and BSA. Next up, we have the Pharo, which got an improvement to its third damage phase, going up by 3.
This does not improve its shots to kill at all, making the buff completely useless. Its hipfire spread also got reduced, which is a welcoming change. Its signature attachment, the underbarrel stun gun, also got an improvement to its effective range by 3 meters, which is good for those people who like running around with this gun and farming clips with that attachment. Overall, the buffs are not too significant, and the gun will still remain as a lower tier option. Next, we have the Fennec, which got an improvement to its aim down sight time, which is now at 180 milliseconds. Its hit flinch also got improved to 1.2, thus no longer being the worst in its class. However, now it is tied with the VMP being the worst ones in the class. The MIP extended light barrel now improves its range by 20% instead of 10, which will improve its 5-shot consistency at close to mid-ranges. These changes are quite welcoming, although the VMP will still remain as a much superior option.
Next, we have the CBR4, which actually got a significant buff to its lower torso multiplier, now becoming 1.1 times. This improves its 4-shot consistency at close ranges and its 5-shot consistency at mid-ranges. Its range profile also got improvements, meaning now it can consistently kill up to a quite good range. These buffs are very promising and may make the CBR4 more usable. Finally, we have the KSP45, which got improvements to its second damage phase, now increasing to 30, which basically does nothing to its shots to kill, making it pointless. Although now you won't reduce to a 5-shot kill if you hit the legs in the second damage range. But why would you even aim at the legs with an SMG? And speaking of ranges, the KSP also got a 3-meter range buff to its first 2 damage ranges, which is welcoming. Overall, the KSP will still remain as an inferior option in its category. And that's all for the submachine guns. Coming to the light machine gun category, we have the first nerf in this patch, which is to the MG42, whose VDD skeletal stock's ADS movement speed buff was reduced from 35% to 24%. The 250-round magazine also got a huge mobility nerf, but it doesn't matter since the 13mm magazine is anyways a superior option. Overall, the nerfs are not quite significant, and thus the MG42 still stays as the best LMG in the game. Next up, we have the Chopper, which got a buff to its maximum ADS bullet spread. Its sprint to fire time and ADS movement speed also got nice improvements, making the weapon a little better. I don't really see too many choppers in my games, but I consider it to be a fun weapon, especially with the heavy handle. And that's all for the multiplayer weapon balancing details. We have one BR exclusive change, which is to the Striker, now reducing its first and second damage phase by 1. But this does not change its shots to kill at all at 300 HP. Its range profile also got a minor nerf, but it is so small that you cannot make out any difference in practical gunfights. Overall, the Striker remains as a good close-range spammable option in Battle Royale. And that wraps up with all of the guns. Few operator skills also got adjusted in this patch. The Death Machine's damage reduction decreased from 30% to 25%. The Pharo got an improved projectile velocity and explosion optimization. I have no clue what the second part means. The Kinetic Armor's activation energy got reduced, and so for the Reactor Core and Havoc, which I don't remember seeing the last time in my ranked matches. Same goes for the Tac Deploy, whose duration improved from 40 seconds to a solid 1 minute. A couple Battle Royale classes also got improvements. The Trapmaster's minimum damage was almost doubled, and its trigger delay was almost halved. The Jet Boost also got an improved mobility, which means wall running will be more satisfying now. And with that, that wraps up with all of the weapon changes for Season 9, 2025 of Call of Duty Mobile. As for my thoughts on the balance patch, the meta is still literally the same. The USS-9 still remains on the top of the chain. Few weapons will now attract a little more attention, but will come to a conclusion once the update drops. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, in case if you missed it, I did not provide builds for any of the weapons here. I'll provide builds when I'll be doing the gun guides for them. But if you want builds, then join my Discord server where I've provided builds and analysis for all of the weapons in the game. And of course, those were just my thoughts on the patch notes. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think of this patch. Do you think the balancing improvements will make the weapons more usable? Just let your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now that the patch notes analysis is done, I'll be going back to the gun guides of the buffed weapons of the current season and try to finish them before the next ones drops. If you have any other recommendations and suggestions regarding anything in the game, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.